All right, so today we're reviewing the seller consultation. Okay, so this is again just like our buyer's consultation. This is something that we provide our agents with on the first couple of days of their tenure here at On the Move Realty. It's basically formatted for each individual to use and to kind of make sure that our presentations are at least based on one slideshow and kind of I guess the word I'm looking for is unity. It's kind of everybody kind of presents the same way, the same things, hits on the same points that are going to be important to the seller. So if Mike's sitting in with me today, Mike's going to be my seller, and so we'll go ahead and get started. So again, we're in the office. I'm screencasting from actually Mike's computer to the television. So this is not plugged in through the HDMI portal. This is actually a screencast, so you can see that it does work through both interfaces, and it looks good as well. So he was able to find, this is Roku Suite 1, which is if you're standing at Courtney's desk to the left, and then Suite 2 is the one with the big window in the front, if anybody is concerned about how to interface with that, okay? So that being said, we'll go ahead and get it started. All right, so Mike, I understand you want to sell your house.
Yes, I do.
Awesome, that's great news. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you came to On the Move Realty and gave us an opportunity to earn that business.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, Mike, before we get started,
Yep.
Any questions that you have just kind of been chewing at you and wondering
Yeah,
about?
I just want to know the process as far as selling it and then maybe buying into and then selling the process. You can elaborate more
Okay.
on that.
Yeah. So, Mike, just to make sure, you're selling your personal residence, right?
Yes,
This isn't a
yes,
rental?
This
Okay.
is mine.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. If you're selling a rental, then there's some other stuff, other opportunities that are available. But you're not missing out on anything because you are selling your primary residence. You're going to avoid most of the tax consequences and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So basically, go ahead and get started with this. So Mike, we assist our clients in all aspects of real estate. Okay. So you can see we do residential sales, rentals, commercial leasing, land subdivision, new construction, investment properties, property management, and on and on and on, okay? So we are definitely qualified to be able to help you through this process. That make sense?
It does. Thank you.
All right. So here is our process. We're gonna lay it out for you, right? So in preparation for selling your home, Mike, we're gonna come out, we're gonna meet you at the location, okay? We're gonna take a walk through and understand what it is that you have there at the house. We're gonna help price the home appropriately, okay? Once you're ready, we'll give you some advice as to staging, decluttering, things that we see that might cause ripples in the market, kind of thing. Okay, but once we're ready, we'll have the home photographed by a professional at our cost. Okay, so you don't have to worry about trying to pay for anything. We do all of this at our cost. And the reason that the photography is important is because the way we look at it, Mike, is if we can't get these individuals up off their couch, we can never sell them your house, right? So my iPhone, it probably takes really good pictures, right? I don't use it much for that, but I'm sure it takes really good pictures. However, my professional photographer knows and understands real estate and what gets people motivated, and she's going to come in and really highlight all the attributes about your house that need to be shown upon, and kind of dampen some of the stuff that maybe isn't as important or maybe not as tasteful in the marketplace, right? So once we have all of that put together, we put together a appealing description of your home for the MLS and other places. So that's the language, that's the body of the actual listing, right? So we're going to make sure that it's appealing, and we want people to feel like almost like if they close their eyes after reading this, they could virtually walk through your home. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's that kind of description and importance, right? So once we have all that put together and we're ready to launch. Okay, the launch phase goes like this. We're going to upload your listing to the Bright MLS. By the way, our MLS is the largest in the nation, covers, I think it's 70 million households.
Wow.
Okay, it's based in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, Northern Virginia, and even, I don't think it goes into West Virginia at all, but it definitely encompasses a very broad area, and it is the largest by numbers in America, right? So not necessarily geographically, but by the numbers, so basically anybody with an MLS subscription will have the ability to attain the information that we put there directly, okay?
Awesome.
Also, one of the things that we'll do is we'll place neatly bound brochures at the home. That'll contain the listing, all those professional pictures, the full disclosures. We'll have you fill those out here shortly, and a full neighborhood report that consists of about 15 to 20 pages detailing area demographics and other pertinent information. Okay, so the neighborhood report is really nice, and these brochures are done really well. I could show you an example, and basically what it does is it kind of reels them in and keeps them informed of who lives in your neighborhood, where do they work, how much money do they make, where their kids go to school, all that kind of extra stuff, right? So we're not just selling them the home, we're selling them the entire picture. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So once we got all that done, we'll place those brochures on your counter. We'll make them available. By the way, all of your disclosures will be inside of that packet there, all right? And they will have already been filled out and signed by you. So any questions that come up while they're viewing your home can be answered quickly and easily by the individual who picks it up. Doesn't necessarily even have to be the agent, because let's just be realistic. If I show 7 houses this Saturday, there's no possibility that I know every answer to every question that my buyers are going to come up with, right?
Understandable.
But if I walk into a home and there's a brochure there with all of the answers given to me, that makes my job as an agent very easy, right? And it makes your decision as an owner or a buyer to that much easier as well. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So also, so that you understand, those disclosures are about half of the purchasing contract. So if I were to come in and see those disclosures on the counter and I like the home, I could basically start signing right there, and half of the contract is already taken care of, right?
Awesome.
So, I mean, it just makes it that much easier, and that's kind of why we do that stuff.
Awesome.
Okay, so also, in addition to all that, we're gonna promote the home on social media to ensure that we're creating a buzz. We're gonna send out just listed postcards to, demographically desirable area. So what we're looking for when we say that is people who we think would wanna move into your home, and or know people who wanna move into your home, right? So, Mike, you told me that you thought your home was probably worth about $300,000.
Roughly.
Yeah, and we're gonna come out. We're gonna assure you of the valuation. Might be more, might be less,
Okay.
but either way, we're gonna shoot it straight with you.
All right.
So, basically, yeah, and you live in a neighborhood. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, Stone Creek or.
Yeah, Sunday. Yep.
Yep. So over there in Stone Creek, people love to live there, and a lot of those people have been there for quite a while.
Yep.
Kind of original owners, and that's great. The thing is, they kind of like to keep the culture over there, right?
Yep.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna send these postcards to them so that we can help them pick their next new neighbor. Because I promise you, as soon as I pull up and I start putting a sign in the yard, one of your neighbors is gonna come out and they're gonna ask me, who's gonna buy it? Who's gonna be my new neighbor, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna give them the opportunity to help us pick their new neighbor.
Yeah.
Perfect scenario, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, and I'd be willing to bet you that somebody in that neighborhood knows somebody who they would love to live next to,
Indeed,
and is
indeed.
also looking for a home in this market, right?
Yep.
There you go. All right, great. So once we've launched, we're gonna go ahead and market the home and promote it, okay? So we'll schedule an open house. Now, Mike, I'm gonna be honest with you, today's market's pretty brisk. I mean, things move along. We might sell your house day 1, it might be day 3, we're not really sure.
Okay.
I don't wanna overpromise and underdeliver, but what I wanna explain to you is, we may not get an opportunity to have an open house, okay?
Okay.
Now, if we can have an open house, we're absolutely gonna have one. We're gonna rock it out. I promise you,
Right.
it'll be second to none. But if we put this thing on the market and it sells day 1, day 2, day 3, we probably won't have the time to actually expedite the open house. Does that make sense?
That does.
All right. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. But we'll schedule an open house. We'll knock doors in the area, hand out flyers, including information about the home, while promoting them to tell a friend, or prompting them, to tell a friend, and family members, coworkers, and people they know that are looking for a home, right? So, once we start to receive offers, we will actually receive them and present them to you with accurate information about what you can expect to receive from each option, and inform you as to the pitfalls that may occur due to different types of financing. All right.
Okay.
So what we do, Mike, is we use what's called a seller's net sheet. Okay. And if I have 3 or 4 offers, it can get pretty confusing if I just lay them in front of you and start telling you verbally about each offer. Correct.
Of course.
So what we'll do is we'll put the seller net sheet together, and we'll go ahead and present to you a seller's net sheet for each offer. And what that does, that tells you what the bottom line is, okay? So that the numbers are very easy for you to formulate in your head, and it's easy for you to understand.
Okay.
Then we'll talk to you a little more verbally about different financing and different things that might come up. Maybe like chipping paint can be an issue. the condition of the home could definitely be an issue for a certain type of financing, right? So we just want to walk you through that stuff and make sure that we put all that stuff at ease for you and make it easy for you to make a decision, okay, as to which one is going to represent the best opportunity for you, okay? Once we've gone ahead and received all of the initial offers, we can renegotiate with the buyer's agents to achieve the best offer possible, okay? So if we're in a multiple offer situation, we're gonna go back to them and just let them know, hey, we need your highest and best, okay? And so kind of speak now or forever hold your peace, right? So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll organize all the documents and meet with you to ratify all the contracts and addendums, right? Now, Mike, we use .loop, and .loop is a system where I can send you paperwork and I can get you to sign them digitally, okay? So I don't necessarily need you to be in person, but if you're that individual that really prefers to do it in person, we're here for it, okay? I can come to your house, we can do it just like we've always been doing it, and sign them in person, ink to paper. Does that make sense?
That does.
Either way, we'll make it fit your schedule. We'll make sure it's convenient for you and comfortable for you, okay?
Pretty cool.
So we'll organize all the documents and meet with you to ratify the contracts, like I said, and then we're gonna secure the signatures on all the documents and collect the earnest money deposit, securing your interest in the deal, okay? The earnest money deposit is the buyer's deposit, okay? They're gonna put down some amount of money on the home. It might be $500, it might be $5,000. We don't actually know until we see it, but and each offer is gonna be a little bit different, but that money will be held by us as your broker, as your real estate broker, in an escrow account, okay? And so we'll hold that money until the day of settlement and then bring it to closing and hand it back to the attorney, okay? And that's how we make sure that they're doing what they said they're gonna do. That's kind of our button that we can push, right? All right, perfect. All right, once we're under contract, okay? Once we're under contract, once all the contracts are signed, the buyer will schedule their inspections. We'll work on your behalf to schedule drop-offs and pickups of radon and other testing equipment, okay? So, because you have a basement, Mike, you said you had a basement, right? Yeah. Most likely they're gonna have a radon test done, okay? And so, there's nothing for you to really worry about. It's just something that takes a few days in progression, right? And so, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll drop off the radon a couple days early, and they'll pick up a water sample while they're there because, the water's gonna have to be tested as well. However, they might come in for the inspection and leave the radon detector for the next 3 days or whatever, and then come pick it up at a later date. So we're not really sure yet. Every inspection company is a little bit different. They all work their own scheduling, but we'll work with you to make sure you understand when they're going to be there, so that you're not surprised by a visit middle of the day. Okay. So we'll go ahead and any repairs that come up, and Mike, I'm just going to tell you, they're going to pay their inspection company, about $700 to come and inspect your house. Even if your house is immaculate, I don't care if your house is brand new, this inspector's gonna find something to put in his report, all right? So I just ripped the Band-Aid off now. This inspector's gonna find something to have you repair, right? All right, so we're gonna negotiate the repairs that have been requested per the inspector's report, right? And we'll work with you through that. Don't let that make you nervous about it. I just want to go ahead and tell you that, it's important. And one other thing while we're talking about inspections, Mike, is your home on a septic system?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so septic systems in my experience are the #1 deal killer. Okay, they can be pretty pesky, especially if they haven't been maintained or if the paper trail isn't there. Now, the paper trail isn't always the homeowner's fault. Okay, Kent County notoriously doesn't keep good records, especially on homes built throughout the 70s and 80s, and even before that. And I would say that over there in Stone Creek, you're probably in the 80s, right? Yeah, probably late 80s. So understand that what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and call Denrec. I'll do that for you, and I'm just going to see if they have your permit on file. Okay. The reason the permit's important is because if there's no permit on file for them installing your system, there's no chance that they're going to produce a permit to repair that system if there are any issues. Okay. Now we work with the very best contractors to make sure that we get every opportunity to get a clean bill of health for your septic system, but in case things go the other way, we want to be prepared, all right? And just so you understand, it's roughly an 8-week process just to get a permit through Denrec, okay? So most real estate transactions are about 6 weeks in total. So we want to start working on this immediately, all right? So I just want to make sure you understand it.
That's good.
All right, so back to this here though. Once we have the repairs all figured out and everything else, we'll work with the appraiser to follow up and ensure that everything has been done to achieve an adequate valuation, right? There are are times where I will actually come out and meet the appraiser in person if I'm not familiar with that appraiser, or if I'm at all worried about the price point that we're at. Okay. A lot of times I'll just take the opportunity, come meet the appraiser. I'll basically use you as leverage, and I'll say, you know, my buyer my seller, I'm sorry, wanted me to be in the room while you're here. So that just kind of gives me an opportunity to be there. But ordinarily, if I know and trust that this individual is a pretty fair and even-keeled person, we'll let them go ahead and do their job without interruption. All right, so once that's done, we'll work between the attorneys, loan officers, and agents to schedule a time for closing, right? And then here we go. So now we've got the appraisal, we've got the inspections, we've made the repairs, everything's great, right? And your bags are packed, you're ready to go.
There you go.
All right, so we'll review the closing disclosures carefully to ensure accuracy. The closing disclosure will come directly from the attorney, and it's basically the account of every dollar, right? So it's what it costs you to sell, what it costs them to buy, and everything is laid out piece by piece so that every single penny is you know, taken care of.
Gotcha.
We'll attend the closing in person with you, Mike, so we're not gonna leave you hanging. You're not gonna be there the day of settlement. Myself or one of my team members will be there with you to make sure that the transaction's smooth start to finish, okay? All right, so you'll never be alone, right, in this process. We'll follow up with the attorneys and buyer's agents to ensure that there were no loose ends, and then we'll follow up with you to ensure that there were no loose ends left open either, okay? So, like I said, we are A to Z, we're start to finish. You're never gonna be alone throughout any of this process. We've got your back, make sure that everything's done. So, Mike, I just wanted to show you, there's a couple of pictures on my slide that, you know, stuff that we've recently sold, so that you understand the kind of clientele that we work with, all right? And so I just want to tell you, we work with everybody. You know, we've sold $35,000 trailers on a lot out in the middle of nowhere, and we've sold the biggest and best houses, you know, that you can find. So just a couple examples, some recent sales we did. This one's a home in a retirement community in Middletown. Sold it for $342,500. I think it took us 2 or 3 weeks to get it under contract. Nice house out here in Lincoln. Sold that one for $258,000. Yeah. One in Smyrna, Groundhog.
Beautiful.
Another one out in Smyrna. So this one was a little bit more detailed. It was a log home, so it wasn't a straightforward sale as some of these other ones could be. And it was also on 51 acres, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of which was wetlands. So there were some issues to deal with there, right? There wasn't just a post it and it'll just sell tomorrow kind of thing, right? So just give you an example. Another couple homes sold. Right. So to give you an idea, I talked a little bit about sending out postcards to your neighbors and introducing your home to them at the price point and so on and so forth. So these are just some examples of those postcards. Okay. This is one that we just sold recently. So you see it's got my picture on it, my name, and it's just a quick little information to the neighbors, just letting them know, hey, we're putting this home on the market. Help us find your new neighbor, right? Here's another one of my other agents, Kevin. You know, same kind of thing. Some of that professional photography that we took the time to do, right? Interiors, exteriors, that kind of stuff. Quick picture of who it is that's representing it and some information about it. So we tend to get a pretty good feedback from those postcards.
Nice.
All right. So if we can have the open house, Mike, this is how we're going to prepare for it. Okay. So in preparation for your open house, we will knock the doors in your area to inform neighbors of the occasion, invite them out to view the home. Keep in mind, everyone knows someone, and it's an opportunity to pick their neighbor and help us create a buzz about your home, okay? Lots of times I meet people that say, I don't want my neighbors to come into my house. Well, Mike, here's what I would say to that. It's not gonna be your house anymore. We're selling this, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Put your things away, put your personal items away, right? Because we're gonna have an open house. We wouldn't wanna have your personal items out there anyways, right? Put your personal items away and let them come in and see the home. All right. I bet you one of them knows somebody who wants to live in that neighborhood and they would love to have as a neighbor, right? We don't want to miss that opportunity, right? So we'll knock the doors, let them know that it's coming. You know, we just basically introduce ourselves, give them a quick little pamphlet on the home, and then let them know that you know, on Saturday between 12 and 2, there's going to be some extra traffic in the area, some balloons and signs, anything. You know, obviously we'll ensure them that any balloons or signs that we put out, we will come and retrieve so that we're not making a mess in the neighborhood, right? My balloons won't be hanging in their tree or anything like that, and you know, just let them know what's going on, right? We'll place directional signs and balloons at the key intersections that drive traffic to our event. Okay, we've got on-move realty balloons and all that kind of stuff, so it's all ready to go. Now, during the open house, we'll have some refreshments on ice, when appropriate, obviously, to keep guests comfortable and keep them in the home longer. The longer they're there, the more likely they are to make a decision to buy. We'll provide them with brochures and related literature highlighting the home's attributes, and while providing information to make their decision to buy an easy one, smile and be polite, and have all the guests sign in so that we can report the numbers of visitors directly to you, right? So we have an app that we use on our smartphones and on our tablets that we can basically get everybody to sign in, and we capture their information right there so that we can follow up with them later on.
Neat.
Awesome, yeah. So after the open house, we're gonna follow up with the attendees with a phone call thanking them for attending and making sure that all of their questions are answered. That's also to gauge their interest in the home, okay?
Alright.
So that's kind of the process. So basically, that's it, Mike.
Okay.
Now, that being said, are there other questions that you have that we haven't answered at this point?
How far the process is, you usually see sell a home?
Are you asking with the time frames
Yeah.
to sell them? Well, in today's market, typically they're moving very quickly, right? So we probably won't be on the market very long. So where I'm gonna earn my money isn't necessarily marketing your home. It's gonna be the actual process of working through the sales portion of it, right? Through the inspections and through the attorney's office and all that kind of stuff. So basically, I would expect your home to probably, if we price it appropriately, we should be under contract. In today's, if everything remains the same, it would probably within a week, maybe 2 weeks at most, okay? If we're on the market for more than 2 weeks, then you and I will need to have a conversation about, price point and other opportunities that there are available, you know what I mean? So, that being said, about 2 weeks to get us under contract and fully executed, right? And then probably another 45 days, right? So I would assume that we're probably gonna be about 8 weeks or so, in the entire process. That being said, things happen. I'm not trying to make any promises, but ultimately, I know for sure, Mike, that we've got the ability to get this job done for you and get it done right the first time.
I trust you.
Perfect. All right. Well, can we go ahead and move forward with
Let's
the
move
process?
forward. Let's move forward.
I love it, man.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and schedule the photography and draw up the contracts. Can you come in? I can draw the contracts up right now, or I can have you and your wife stop back in later today, whatever works for you.
I'll probably my wife do it my way.
All right, yeah, so let me know if today or tomorrow is better.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Look forward to signing that.
All right, yep.
All right, perfect. All right, so guys, you can see that that was just a quick iteration of our process, okay? Again, we provide this platform or this slideshow for you when you come in with On the Move Realty. This is something that's kind of generic in a sense. Again, my suggestion is that you use it the way that we've laid it out so that it becomes easy and kind of memorized for you, and then you start to make some changes to it how you prefer. Some of our brand new agents, we really would suggest that you don't mess with anything, just follow our program. We promise you this is how we've been successful in the past, and you can see the same results. But if you start to change things before you ever implement them, you can run into some problems and it may not be as successful for you. So at the end of the day, the point is to make sure that you guys are professional and know what you're doing. And I promise you, if you take the time to review this a few times before your clients actually get here, it will be a much more comfortable conversation, and you will show the confidence to your seller that you have the ability to get the deal done, and they will trust you and go ahead and move forward with you. So thank you for watching the video, and let us know personally if you have any questions.